ఓకే. 1 ఇయర్ ఆఫ్ 'సలార్' ఇవాళ లైవ్‌లో మాట్లాడదాం ఎక్కువగాని. కాకపోతే ఒక ఇంటర్వ్యూ వచ్చేసింది ప్రశాంత్ నీల్‌ది. సో, ఐయామ్ ఎక్సైటెడ్ ఎలా ఉందో. చాలా రోజుల తర్వాత ఇంటర్వ్యూ రియాక్షన్ చేస్తున్నా. సో, చూద్దాం. ఐయామ్ ఎక్సైటెడ్. అండ్ 'సలార్ 2' గురించి ఏం చెప్తారో చూడాలి. అండ్ ఇది ఇంటర్వ్యూ కాబట్టి, కాపీరైట్ ఏస్తారు కాబట్టి మధ్య మధ్యలో ఆపుతూ నేను మాట్లాడతా. నా ఎక్స్‌పీరియన్స్ ఆఫ్ 'సలార్' గురించి చెప్తా ఉంటా. సో, లాస్ట్ వరకు చూడండి. లెట్స్ ఎంజాయ్ దిస్. అండ్ నైట్ కూడా మాట్లాడదాం. లైవ్ వచ్చేసేయండి మన మెయిన్ ఛానెల్‌లో. సో, వితౌట్ ఎనీ డిలే లెట్స్ స్టార్ట్ విత్ ది రియాక్షన్. సో, యాహ్! ఏక సినిమా
I just want you to tease us for what's coming up. That scene that moment is the reason why I'm making Salaar. Salaar 2 is something that unquestionably will be one of my best works.
ఏయి ఇల్మావా.
Hello, sir. I have open confession. I am a Salaar addict. Okay. And in this conversation, you will see that fanboy of that film coming out. Please pardon me for that. On the account of the first anniversary of Salaar, we are having this conversation. Thank you for giving me the time. As a fanboy, I know I have limited time, but I had 5 questions to ask you regarding Salaar. First, I don't know if you recall this. The last time we spoke about Salaar, you said, and I was asking how involved is Prabhas in the shaping up of the writing or the idea of the film and all of that. You said one thing. He said all heroes are, they better be, and you also said Prabhas, some input that Prabhas gave you fundamentally changed the drama of this film. Do you recall what that input was? And if you can now share what that is.
No, I can't share that because that comes in the second part.
I see.
Okay.
I see.
He basically brought in a new perspective to the relationship between Varda and Deva. And a part of that is what I've carried in the first part. But genuinely, he's phenomenal with drama. He understands that I have come from KGF. So he does not concentrate on the key moments of the movie, but he always concentrates on the drama. How does the movie start and how does it end?
యాక్చువల్లీ ఐమ్ సారీ. అండ్ నాకు ఇక్కడ నచ్చింది ఏంటంటే ఇక్కడ ముఖ్యంగా ప్రశాంత్ నీల్ చెప్పేది, ప్రభాస్ అండ్ మనకి అందరికీ తెలిసి ఏంటంటే ప్రశాంత్ నీల్ కేజీఎఫ్ చేసిన తర్వాత ఆయన ఎలాంటి కైండ్ ఆఫ్ టేకింగ్ చేస్తాడు కరెక్టే. బట్ నాకు ఈయన చెప్పిన దాని ప్రకారం ఏమనిపిస్తుందంటే ప్రభాస్కి తెలుసు లైక్ కేజీఎఫ్లో ఎలాంటి ఎలిమెంట్స్ ఉంటాయో వాటి ప్రశాంత్ నీల్ ఆల్రెడీ మళ్ళీ తీసుకురాగలుగుతాడు. డ్రామా పరంగా, స్టోరీ పరంగా ఇట్ హ్యాస్ టు బి ద గ్రేటెస్ట్. నాకు తెలిసి ఇంకా కేజీఎఫ్ కంటే సలార్ ఈజ్ మోర్ పోటెంట్ అండ్ మోర్ వైబ్రెంట్ అండ్ డ్రామా వైజ్ ఇంకా బాగుంటుంది నా దృష్టిలో. ఐ థింక్ దే గాట్ దట్ పర్టికులర్ పాయింట్ రైట్ నా ఫీలింగ్.
And he was very particular about the ending of the movie, which becomes Salaar 2 now, because we started to make it as a single movie.
ఓకే.
So he was very particular about that one moment right at the end, which basically changed the draft entirely. I will not be able to tell you any more about that.
Sure. No worries. I'm going to be a little greedy. I said 5 questions, but each question will have sub-questions. Allow me to do that. When you look at this, I know you may not give me an emotional answer or a romantic answer, that's fine. But even if you're looking at it from a technical standpoint, what do you see when you look at this now?
I mean, we start off making movies only to show human relationships. You set it far ahead in the future or far back in the past. We base every movie on relationships. And I think as innocent as the story is about the friendship, it is as innocent as that when they become enemies.
Okay.
That is the most intriguing part about what I've written, and I don't feel whole with Salaar because I haven't told the second part.
Okay.
I wish I can get to it and tell that second part because it's, like you said, you're greedy. Even I'm also very greedy to show that particular emotion.
Sure.
And I think that is one of my best bits of writing that I've written, when they have to separate and become enemies.
ఓకే
Lovely.
That is a very emotional part for me also.
Sure, sure. You said it in a very, very interesting manner. The innocence when they are friends and the innocence when they are enemies. Innocence and enemies.
Yeah, I mean, how do you separate friends? It has to be that one moment. Either it has to be because of a misunderstanding, and even if it is misunderstanding, it has to be a very big misunderstanding.
ఓకే
Otherwise, you can't separate brothers. You can't separate a son and a father. Now I look at this as an emotion between a mother and a son. It is almost impossible to separate them,
ఓకే
whatever the misunderstanding is.
ఓకే రావదాం. పరిస్థితి ఏంటంటే ప్రస్తుతానికి యాక్చువల్గా అక్కడ ఆ, ఉగ్రం చూసిన వాళ్ళకి కొంచెం ఐడియా వస్తుంది. మన తమ్ముని ఏదైతే జరుగుతుందో తమ్ముని మీద జరుగుతూ ఉంటుంది, ప్లస్ దాంట్లో మదర్ ఎమోషన్ కూడా యాడ్ అవుతుంది. వీటన్నిటి వల్ల కొన్ని రీజన్స్ వల్ల వాళ్ళు విడిపోతారు. దాని తర్వాత ఏం జరిగిందో ఒకవేళ ఉగ్రం చూడలేదంటే మాత్రం మీకు ఐడియా ఉండదు, ఉగ్రం చూసిన వాళ్ళకి ఐడియా ఉంటుంది. ఐ థింక్ దీంట్లో దాన్ని చేంజ్ చేస్తారో చేయలేదో తెలియదు, కానీ దీంట్లో ఆ రీజన్ ఏదైతే ఉందో దాన్ని ఇంకొంచెం వాట్ ఈస్ బాగా ప్యూరిఫై చేసి ఇంకొంచెం రిఫైన్డ్గా చూపిస్తారని నా ఫీలింగ్ అనమాట. ఎమోషన్ని మనకు ఆల్రెడీ ఫస్ట్ పార్ట్లోనే చాలా గట్టిగా చూపించేశారు, ముఖ్యంగా మదర్ ఎమోషన్ కానీ ఫ్రెండ్షిప్ కానీ చాలా బాగా చూపించారు. సో దాన్ని ఇంకొంచెం పుష్ చేసి బాగా చేస్తారని నాకు ఫీలింగ్ అనిపిస్తుంది. ఎందుకంటే ఉగ్రం చాలా మందికి చాలా ఫేవరెట్ తెలుసు, బట్ స్టిల్ నేను చూస్తున్నప్పుడైతే ఉగ్రంలో అవన్నీ కొంచెం రష్డ్ ఫీలింగ్ వచ్చిందన్న నాకు. అరే వెళ్ళిపోయినారా అనే ఫీలింగ్ వచ్చేసింది. దాన్ని ఇంకొంచెం రిఫైన్ చేస్తారని నా ఫీలింగ్ అన్నట్టు. సో చూడాలి, ఐఎమ్ ఎక్సైటెడ్.
But there is this one moment, and I'm banking on that one moment to make Salaar what it is going to be. It is not because of all the big moments that we have, with him holding swords or him holding guns in his hand. I am banking on that one moment.
Sure, sure. The moment which drives them to be enemies.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Part C of the first question. When I look at this, there's something magical about the moment where Deva hugs Varda when Varda goes to bring him back to Kansar. The hug is very special. Do you remember? First of all, does it feel? I mean, I think it's just Prabhas's magic there, honestly. If you can talk about that scene, and if you saw anything special when it was actually happening when you were shooting that.
The moment that happened, it clicked. It just felt like two friends actually came together after 25 years. So that is that was a special moment for me, and I said it in one of the interviews just before Salaar that moment in the movie was the best moment for me.
I see. Okay.
So I mean that is to summarize what the movie is about. That is the content of the movie. When you get content right, I don't think there's a bigger satisfaction than that for the director, for the creator of the movie.
Right. Second question about the writing of Salaar. Even if you ask me now, I can come up with 6 or 7 scenes that are just fantastic in Salaar, right? Now, while I don't think you have a count of the number of scenes that you want to write which work very well, I don't know if you do, but for you, how many supremely working scenes or set pieces do you have when you look at Salaar Part 1, Ceasefire?
I don't look at it that way.
Okay.
Even if there are scenes that tend to give you a sense of euphoria in the theaters, part of them are planned.
Correct.
But we never say that we need one over here.
Sure.
Gone are those days when you say you need a song over here, you need a fight over here. I think it's all part of the story itself.
అంటే లైక్ కరెక్టే, స్టోరీ బీట్స్ ని ఫాలో అవుతూనే ఉంటుంది అలా. కదా ఫస్ట్ 40 minutes స్లో ఉంటుంది, ఇంకా లైక్ రీజనింగ్ చెప్పుకుంటూ కొంచెం బిల్డప్ ఇస్తూ చేస్తారు. సో దాన్ని ఆపి మనకి కోల్మెన్ ఫైట్ ఏదైతే ఉందో దాన్ని చూపించాడు. సో అక్కడైతే ఉందిలే, బట్ స్టిల్.
For example, the interval sequence in Salaar, it necessarily didn't have to be an action piece. It's just the revelation of who this character is.
Correct.
Yeah.
But whilst we were writing it, we decided that it is just going to enhance the whole scene if there is an action sequence.
Okay.
So that was a call as a writer itself of the movie, not just as the director of the movie. So
Okay.
I don't know, I don't count how many scenes work for us, but it becomes a tendency that you want your interval to be euphoric. So you probably mark that out as a director, but as a writer also that supported our cause with the action set piece.
చాలా బాగుంటుంది
Sure.
యాక సీన్ అది.
And boy, was that euphoric. I do have that particular scene. But going back to that hug and all of that, it's just magical what happens after the hug, where Deva is hesitant to ask for a favor, but immediately through his voice or whatever, where Varda is hesitant to ask for a favor, immediately Deva goes back to what happened, in childhood and how Varda had a situation like that. Only thing he says is,
అమ్మకి చెప్పొస్తా.
are you jumping out of your seat when you wrote that?
No, that's content. That's content. That's part of the scene. Maybe the way it was shown by the director of the movie is to elevate it, to bring in the childhood and everything else. But the writer in me always thinks about it as a content,
Yeah.
because I don't think he has to really make Varda tell him that I want you to come with me. The chemistry between them is so strong that he understands that right there and then. So that works as the content of the movie.
Sure. But when you wrote that, did you write that first and later realize there is magic in this? Or while writing, do you know I'm writing something magical? Or I want to write something supremely magical here?
I think I realized that only after we put music to it.
Oh.
Otherwise, it just stood out as a content piece for us.
Really?
Yeah.
So, without that music in your head, you are just looking at it as the most organic line that Deva can say there.
Yeah, because it is who he is. We basically write the character and we let the character write the script for us. So that
ఇక్కడ చాలా పెద్ద పాయింట్ అసలు నిజంగా అసలు ఇది అర్థం చేసుకుంటే ఉంటుంది. లైక్ ఇక్కడ అడిగింది ఏంటంటే, ఇక్కడ మీరు ఒక మ్యాజికల్ మూమెంట్ రాయాలని రాసారా, లేదంటే మీరు రాసిన తర్వాత అది మ్యాజికల్ అయిందని మీరు ఫిక్స్ అయ్యారా అంటే మాత్రం మాకు అది మ్యూజిక్ వచ్చేంత వరకు కూడా అది ఒక మ్యాజికల్ మూమెంట్ లెక్క కనిపించలేదు అన్నాడు ఆయన. అంటే లైక్ ద సీన్ వాజ్ ఇట్ సెల్ఫ్ మ్యాజికల్ మూమెంట్. ఎందుకంటే లైక్ అక్కడ దేవా అండ్ వరద మధ్యలో ఉన్న అండర్స్టాండింగ్, వాళ్ళ మధ్యలో ఉన్న కెమిస్ట్రీ, దాట్ స్పీక్స్ ద వాల్యూమ్ యాక్చువల్లీ. ఇక్కడ డైలాగ్స్ లేకున్నా, వాళ్ళు ఎక్కువ ఒకటిసే పర్ఫార్మెన్స్ లేకున్నా, ఏది లేకున్నా, వాళ్ళు జస్ట్ ఎక్స్ప్రెషన్స్ తోటే అండ్ ఆల్సో ఇంటెన్షన్ని ఈజీగా గ్రాప్ చేసుకునే సిచ్యువేషన్ అనమాట. ఒకవేళ అది కనుక ఈయనకి జస్ట్ సబ్ కాన్షియస్గా వచ్చిందంటే ప్రశాంత్ నీల్ ఈజ్ వన్ ఆఫ్ ద బెస్ట్ రైటర్స్ మ్యాన్, నిజంగా చెప్తున్నాను. ఎందుకంటే లైక్ ఆ కెమిస్ట్రీని ఊహించుకున్న తర్వాత, షూట్ చేసిన తర్వాత కూడా అది నార్మల్ అనిపించింది అంటే లైక్ ఇట్స్ నాట్ స్మాల్ థింగ్. ఎందుకంటే అండర్లైనింగ్ అయినా చాలా డ్రామాని ఈజీగా ఇంబ్యూ చేసేసినట్టు అనిపించింది నాకైతే మాత్రం. సో ఇట్స్ అ వెరీ వెరీ బిగ్ థింగ్. యా,
that is what he is supposed to say at that point of time. So that becomes content.
Sure. Sure.
So we don't drive the character to say something. We make the character say everything that we want to tell in the movie. But we don't force it upon the character.
No, I'm actually getting a good understanding of how you differentiate a writer and director. Anyway, I have a couple of scenes. Now that I have a better understanding, maybe I'll make it quick. But how do you write the starting scene? I don't know if you would agree, but if I were to sit now and write a starting scene has to make an impression. There has to be a bang. Whether it's an action block or otherwise, that's different. When you sat down, was this the first starting scene that you wrote for it?
It was.
Okay.
It was. Just to show the bond between the two of them. Because the theme of the movie is
ఫ్రెండ్షిప్.
best friends becoming the biggest
Force.
enemies. So I think that's just part of my commercial side in me that I had to write something which was over dramatic in terms of cinematic sense.
What I was just sitting there. I don't know how to whistle, but mentally I was whistling. What was over dramatic about it?
So over dramatic becomes when you talk in terms of just writing. But already we have created that. We already know what we are setting out to do. We want to make this a commercial drama. We just don't want to make it a drama.
Correct.
So drama can be told in different ways.
Okay.
And KGF director coming together with one of the biggest actors in the country, who has a very strong commercial background, I had to keep them hooked with that commercial sense. So I chose that route.
Sure. Sorry, if you can just explain that, what element of it would you call, from a writing standpoint, over dramatic?
I can convey that scene in many ways.
Yeah.
Just the two of them having a conversation also can communicate that. But I have to put Salaar title after that.
Correct.
Okay.
And I have to create that euphoria. So as a director, I do that. I don't do that as a writer.
Okay.
God, lovely. In fact, the answer I'm taking is, there's no one element of that scene. The entire way the scene is treated is, you're saying, from a director's standpoint, from a writer's standpoint, it wouldn't have been so over dramatic.
Definitely.
Got it. Lovely.
Okay.
Lovely. In fact, you gave me this. You gave me the segue to the next sub question, which is the Salaar title. I found it very, very interesting. The young Varada, Baba is asking him or telling him the story of a Persian king or something like that, and then the young Varada says Salaar. I would have imagined the title come to appear there, but there's one more shot that is after he says Salaar and before the title comes. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, the boy sitting in the car.
Correct.
Yeah.
It is great that, of course, maybe it is natural, but for me, it's like, okay, you remember that, which is great. Why did you put that in? Not why did you put that in, it's a choice, but isn't the natural temptation to have Salaar being said in the background, the title comes?
I don't know why I did that.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't remember why I did that, but the moment I said Salaar, I wanted a shot of the boy sitting in the car, as innocent as
I feel it was natural.
just
natural
a son and just a friend. I didn't want to put out a shot of Prabhas, slashing a few people
Correct.
here and there. I just wanted that side of him, that he thinks that his friend is his Salaar.
In fact, that being subtle also comes in a very important point, which is revealing Prabhas for the first time. There is no big bang as such. There is that procession or whatever happening in the background, then he just arrives, right? Again, that also I felt was...
అంటే కంపారిటివ్లీ టు కేజీఎఫ్ అని ఒప్పుకుంటా, ఎందుకంటే ఇట్స్ నాట్ సటిల్ డెఫినెట్లీ. సలార్ అండ్ ఇది చాలా సటిల్ అని చెప్పాను, బట్ కంపారిటివ్లీ కేజీఎఫ్లో చాలా వరకు కూడా క్యారెక్టర్ని ఎలివేట్ చేస్తారు, వాటి కోసం ఎలివేషన్స్ ఇస్తారు, డైలాగ్స్ కూడా అలానే లేపుతారు. ఇక్కడ ప్రభాస్ సింపుల్గా ఉంటాడు, లైక్ ఈవెన్ ఆయన బాడీ లాంగ్వేజ్ మాట్లాడేస్తుంది. ఎంత చెప్దాం అనుకున్నా కానీ బాడీ లాంగ్వేజ్ మాట్లాడేస్తుంది అక్కడ. పెద్ద ఎలివేషన్స్ కానీ, ఒక పెద్ద యాక్షన్ బీట్స్, డైలాగ్స్ పేజీలు మాట్లాడాల్సిన అవసరం లేదు. జస్ట్ నిల్చుంటాడు, ఒక లుక్ ఇస్తాడు, దాన్ని వీళ్ళు బాగా పిక్చరైజ్ చేస్తారు, అంతే. అంతకంటే ఇంకేం అవసరం లేని ఫీలింగ్ వస్తుంది నాకు సలార్ చూసినంతసేపు కూడా.
Very subtle and very different, because anyway the rest of the film has a lot of high points. Was that the idea, that the rest of the film anyway has a lot of high points, so let his introduction be calm?
Yeah, because we had to show him as a force that was held back by the word that he has given to his mother.
Okay.
So that wouldn't have worked for us. Even if I tried to make it commercial, I wouldn't be able to define this character for you.
Sure. Got it. Now, the other thing that I really, again, the problem with something like a Salaar is, in the first day, first show, we don't get to understand it because there's so much of applause, whistling, cheering and all of that happening. And I knew the moment I saw it, my show was over, I knew this is a film that I'm going to go back to. And I went back to it, and only then I realized the beauty about it. You may not appreciate me appreciating it, but it's just a beautiful film, and I'm going to, take the criticism of a lot of people. I don't care. It is just a beautiful film. And I'll tell you one thing that I realized in my second viewing. The thing that he is the Salaar, he is Deva is Varada's army, is carried through the entire film. I don't know whether to ask how do you write it, because a big part of it could be director Prashanth Neel as well. Tell me anything about this.
I think it's a combination of the both of them, the writer and director in me. It is, see, every scene that I'm setting up in the movie is for both the parts.
Yeah.
The imprint of his palm on that paper
Okay.
is not to signify anything else but the imprint that he's going to leave on Kansar itself.
Whoa. Okay.
So be it
Achesesa.
Baba telling him that or everything, all these things are what the characters already know of one another. The Katarama sequence, the girls, the tribal girls and their woes is something that I had to set up at that point of time. Only because to give you that cinematic effect of, sometimes gods will not come.
రాక్షసుడన్న ఒత్తడేమోనని.
But then putting that flash is, I think, editor Prashanth Neel or director Prashanth Neel just teasing us, playing with us.
No, I'm setting up the movie.
Sure.
I'm setting up the
ప్లీజ్ కాటేరమ్మ ఎవరైతే ఉందో దాన్ని ఆ క్యారెక్టర్స్ని సెకండ్ పార్ట్లో మళ్ళీ తీసుకురండి. ఐ వాంట్ బిగ్ KGF 2లో చేస్తారు అట్లా. ప్లీజ్
story going forward.
Because sometimes I feel that we are such puppets in your hands that you know how you're going to manipulate us.
I think we all have to do that. Like, that the hero is going to do something, but I hold it back like I'm creating mystery. But there is no mystery to it. But you like the very fact that I'm treating it like a mystery for you. So I think that setup itself is. I mean, you go back and watch fight scenes. You know that the hero is going to win in this fight scene. But you go back eventually to watch these fight scenes.
Correct.
It's just the interaction that you're having with the audience itself.
Sure.
The level of understanding is unbelievable here. Seriously, Prashanth Neel right point పట్టుకుంటున్నాడేనా.
Sure. Third question. You said when you were doing Recce for KGF in North Karnataka, somebody came to you and asked you, where is Mughur, right? And you said that showed you the potential or the potency in creating a world and all of that. And you said that was an inspiration to create Kansar in the way you created it. Please tell us how you created the world of Kansar.
So the general construction or deconstruction of what the thought process behind Kansar is only something I can give you an answer to after Salaar 2 has released.
Let me put it this way then, at least let me get this from you. How exciting was it for you, of course thanks to Humbale, but how exciting was it for you to walk into that set, to be reveling in it and thinking that, hey, this is a set that was built for your film, of course a big responsibility. The walls, the big statues. I was talking to Bhuvan Gowda once and he said the statues were life size. I mean, whatever we see there. Whatever you can comment about if not the writing behind the world of Kansar, the actual building up the world of Kansar.
I don't think excitement is ever going to be there with any director. It's just that it's just a relief that we got it right.
Okay.
You know what? Sometimes you have an imagination in your head and you're hoping that it comes out that way. And we got it right with Salaar.
Sure. See, we have all been supremely impressed by how you when you say when I say you with your editors, the edit of Salaar especially it looked like music to me. Of course, there is Ravi Basroor playing a major role in the edit also, because you've said that you sit with him and perhaps sometimes edit to the beats as well, or have beats for the edits, so on and so forth, right? Was there anything particularly impressive or interesting for you in the edit, how you did the edit for Salaar? Plus also, I was just looking at it just to make sure that my assessment of it is right. There are very few shots which are more than 5 seconds. Within 5 seconds, there are newer shots,
1.3, 1.4
most of them,
seconds.
you also elevate what is happening through the reactions of the others, not necessarily the subject of that particular scene, right? So two things. Is it because our attention span is low, or what is the reason for having such short cuts, and also the overall edit?
I did not know that it was less than 5 seconds. I mean, I didn't see it that way. Maybe I'm the kind of director that does not keep lengthy shots. But it has never been my plan that I have to run the cuts very quickly.
చాలా
Just
చాలా
that the
ఫాస్ట్.
scenes demanded that to do that. Maybe somebody else would have done it differently. When it comes to the process of editing, I don't think I can comment too much about that, because that literally becomes part of your direction. Like, you might have taken 5 takes and you might have thought the 5th one is the best, but when you sit on the edit table, you think the 2nd one is the best.
ఓకే.
Changes sometimes. I don't mark my shots on the sets. So the process over there is again to rediscover the scene, to feel excitement about the scene that you already shot, and to make sure that the content is driving it at that point of time, or the euphoria, whatever is important for that particular scene. Every director has his pattern of doing it. Probably I've been successful with my editing from Ugram, KGF 1, KGF 2, and I inculcated it in Salaar as well. As far as I know, it has worked for Salaar.
Absolutely. And in fact,
అంటే ఎడిటింగ్ ఆఫ్ సలార్ ఈస్ వెరీ వెరీ డిఫరెంట్. ఎందుకంటే మనం జనరల్ ప్రశాంత్ నీల్ ఫిలిమ్స్కి దీనికి డిఫరెన్స్ అంటూ ఎక్కువ ఉండదు. బట్ స్టిల్ రెగ్యులర్ కమర్షియల్ మూవీస్ కంటే సలార్లో ఉన్న ఎడిటింగ్ చాలా డిఫరెంట్గా ఉంటుంది. ఇక్కడ నాకు తెలిసి ప్రశాంత్ నీల్ ఏం చేస్తాడంటే ఒక షార్ట్కి ఆయన డిఫరెంట్ యాంగిల్స్లో డిఫరెంట్ కెమెరాస్ పెడతాడు. చాలా వరకు అది చేస్తారు. బట్ స్టిల్ దీనిలో ఆయన వాడేది ఏంటంటే నాకు తెలిసి 1.4 సెకండ్స్కి 1.5 సెకండ్స్కి ఫాట్ అని ఒకటే సీన్ని, ఒకటే క్యారెక్టర్ని, ఒకటే కాంటెంట్ని డిఫరెంట్ యాంగిల్స్లో షూట్ చేసి వాటిని డిఫరెంట్ యాంగిల్స్లో కట్ చేసి పెడతాడు. సో మనం ఆ ఒక్క పాయింట్ని, ఒక సీన్ని మనం చూసేటప్పుడు చాలా యాంగిల్స్లో చూస్తూ ఉంటాం, చాలా డిఫరెంట్ పర్స్పెక్టివ్స్లో చూస్తూ ఉంటాం అనమాట. దానివల్ల సినిమా చాలా ఫాస్ట్గా అయిపోతుంది అనిపిస్తుంది. బట్ తక్కువ రన్ టైంలో చాలా ఎక్కువ చూపించినట్టు అనిపిస్తూ ఉంటుంది మనకి. సో దానివల్ల మనకి ఏదో చాలా జరిగిపోతుంది, అటెన్షన్ స్పాన్ సినిమాలో చాలా జరిగిపోతుంది అనే ఫీలింగ్ క్రియేట్ చేస్తుంది. అక్కడ ప్రశాంత్ నీల్ సక్సెడ్ అవుతాడు. లాస్ట్ వరకు కూడా నువ్వు ఎక్కడ కూడా లైక్ ఏంట్రా బోర్ కొడుతుంది అనే ఫీలింగ్ రాకుండా కంటిన్యూ చేస్తాడు. అది ఇంపార్టెంట్ అనమాట. ఈవెన్ స్లో సీన్స్ లో కూడా ఆ పేసింగ్ చాలా బాగా సెట్ అవుతుంది.
previously also you had mentioned that you're not too bothered about maintaining a reputation for yourself or anything being called repetitive in your films. For me, with Salaar, like you just said, I am, testament to it that it worked. I don't see any problems, or I wouldn't even maybe egg you to change that. I mean, it's working so far, so why fix something that's not definitely broken? Last question, okay? I just want you to tease us for what's coming up without obviously
please
revealing anything. Again, only in the second viewing I got this. Between 2010 and 2017, so what I always thought was there is a commitment or a vow that Deva has with Varda, and maybe mutually also, vice versa also. But only in my second viewing I figured out that there is something going on between Krishna Kant, and which is Adya's father, Shruti Hassan's father. There is some sort of a commitment there as well. So again, just tease us. Something happened in 2010, and those who have watched Ugram know what has happened perhaps, but we don't know how it has happened in Salaar, obviously. So between 2010 and 2017, is that what Salaar 2 is about?
No, definitely it's about that time period.
ఓకే.
The drama is not the same as what it was in Ugram, for sure.
సాల్రా బాబు, సాల్రా.
Because
Happy.
like I told you, the moment Varda and Deva become enemies is the reason why I'm making Salaar 2.
ఓకే.
It's not just because Salaar 1 is successful and I have to continue the franchise.
Correct.
That story is that scene is, that moment is what I want to tell on screen, on celluloid. And beyond that, I mean, it's left up to everybody's imagination till that point of time. I have to make sure that I surprise you.
Sure. Part B of teasing us. Again, maybe I'm just completely biased towards Salaar. One thing that came up is Ishwari Rav's character, which is the mother's character. There was a little bit of exaggeration in the way that is played out, is one of the criticisms or feedback that was received. Again, it didn't bother me too much. And in that context, I was just asking you off camera again about the first fight where Prabhas has to save Shruti Hassan. Ishwari Rav's character goes there because Shruti Hassan has forgotten the chili powder
Dabba.
dabba, right? And then the fight is just beginning, but you do have a shot of her keeping the chili powder dabba there, which blew my mind. I'm like, why is he keeping such an inconsequential thing in a fight, right? Obviously there would be some reason for it, but again, just teases the exaggerated perhaps performance or the taking of the mother's character. There is a reason for it.
Definitely there's a reason.
Okay.
And if her performance is exaggerated, it is only because I asked her to do it.
Sure.
So what do you call exaggeration? When a child is going towards a candle, a burning candle, and is about to touch it, you are going to scream at the top of your lungs. Is that exaggerated? It is not exaggerated. So when Deva picks up a plastic knife and she treats it as a horror scene, is it exaggerated? It is definitely not exaggerated. I mean, you will have to wait for part 2 to understand why she does that.
నాకు అదే అనిపించింది.
That's also one of the
అంటే వాళ్ళ అమ్మ పర్స్పెక్టివ్లో దేవ ఎన్ని ఘోరాలు చేస్తే ఆమె అంత ట్రామాకి ఫీల్ అయ్యి, ఆగ్రా బాబు నువ్వు ప్లాస్టిక్ కత్తి పట్టుకున్నా నాకు ఇట్లా అయిపోతుంది ఇచ్చేసే అనే ఫీలింగ్ క్రియేట్ చేసి నాకు అక్కడే అనిపించేసింది. కరెక్టే, ఓవర్ వేసిందని అనిపించినా కానీ ఇట్ ఫీల్స్ ఓకే, అంత ఘోరాలు చేసిండు దేవ ఆమె దృష్టిలో. సో వాని చేతిలో కత్తి కాదు కదా, కనీసం ఒక కాలి గోరు ఏలి గోరు ఉన్నా కానీ చంపేంత వాట్ ఈస్ రూత్లెస్ అయిపోయిండు అనే ఫీలింగ్ ఆమెకు వచ్చిందనే ఫీలింగ్ వచ్చింది. అందుకే ఐ లవ్ దట్ సీన్. నాకైతే చాలా ఇష్టం.
highlights of what I feel is one of the most brilliant scenes in Salaar 2. So there is a reason for that.
Lovely.
So her exaggeration and whatever faults you find in Salaar from anybody, it's all because there is a design to it, and because I have asked that of the actor. And Shwari Rao is such a brilliant actor
Super
that she's not going to fault with that, and I'm not going to allow her to also fault with that.
Yeah.
This is my 4th movie. Salaar is my 4th movie, and one thing that I know of myself, that I can boast of myself, is the actors never go wrong in my movie.
Absolutely right. So, like I said, I don't agree that. I mean, at least it did not seem like exaggerated for me. And even if it is, I'm also confident that it is Prashanth Neel who's designed it that way for a particular reason. And to end it on that note, I know there are a lot of things that you have planted in Ceasefire, which we are going to see in Shauriyanga Parva. There are a few that we had a payoff for already, maybe like the Mahara episode, but I'm sure there are a lot more. Just to end with this, right? You said you wanted to retell the Ugram story because of an unfulfilled desire, which was you wanted to fill the theaters for that particular story. How happy are you with what Salaar did in that aspect of filling up the cinema halls?
I'm not completely happy yet.
అనుకున్నా.
Okay.
I just feel that I am a little disappointed with how much effort I put into the first part.
ఓకే.
I don't know subconsciously if I was complacent coming off KGF 2.
No, I don't think so.
But ever since that happened, I decided to make Salaar 2 into one of my best movies.
చాలు
And the
చాలు
writing that
సామి.
I put into Salaar 2 has been probably one of my best works. And I'm going to make up for it more than I can imagine, and more than the audience are imagining right now. I'm very, very confident of that. I've been confident of very few things in my life, and Salaar 2 is something that unquestionably will be one of my best works.
చాలు.
See, I don't think you are someone who makes lofty claims. So, and hence what you're saying is taken with utmost seriousness. Just before starting Salaar, you had mentioned that there was a mythological series that you were toying with.
Come on, Ravana, come on.
You can say no comments, but I'm just going to ask this. Is NTR Neel on that track?
No.
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 Okay.
That's a periodic movie, but it's not a mythological movie.
Okay. But there was a smile when I said the mythological series is
That-
something cooking.
That's yeah, definitely. That's going to happen a little later. But as of now, like you said, no comments.
Sure. Sooner the better,
Okay.
usually. But
Ravanam,
with you,
Prabhas,
later the better.
Dilrazu,
Good luck
come on.
for NTR Neel, and looking forward to once again going back to Salaar 2 whenever you show us that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
ఎండ్ పోయేది అది పాప వేరే లెవెల్ అది. ఇన్ టర్మ్స్ ఆఫ్ క్వశ్చన్స్ ఇంకొంచెం ఎక్కువ అడగవచ్చు. ఇన్ టర్మ్స్ ఎట్లా అంటే మనకి రాధారామ కానీ, ఇన్ టర్మ్స్ ఆఫ్ గేమ్ ఆఫ్ థ్రోన్స్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ సిచ్యువేషన్ ఇన్ ఖాన్ సార్ అవన్నీ అడగవచ్చు. అడగలేకపోయారు నాకు తెలుసు, బట్ స్టిల్ ఆయన అడిగిన క్వశ్చన్స్ అన్ని చాలా బాగున్నాయి. అండ్ బాక్స్ ఆఫీస్ పర్ఫార్మెన్స్ వైజ్ చెప్పినప్పుడు ప్రశాంత్ నీల్ ఎందుకు డిసప్పాయింట్ అయ్యాడో తెలుసుకోవచ్చు. బికాస్ సలార్ ఈజ్ సచ్ అ గ్రేట్ ఫిలిం. లైక్ 650-700 దగ్గర ఆగిపోయే సినిమా కాదు అది. ఇట్ హ్యాడ్ టు గో. కాకపోతే దాంట్లో చాలా ఫ్యాక్టర్స్ ఇన్వాల్వ్ అయినాయి. బీట్ డంకీ క్లాస్ కానీ, ఏ రేటెడ్ కానీ, అండ్ ఆల్సో నెగిటివ్ క్యాంపెయిన్ కానీ, చాలా జరిగినాయి దాంట్లో. క్లాస్ చాలా పెద్దదైంది. దాని వరకు ఓకే, బట్ స్టిల్ హొంబాలే ఫిలిమ్స్ ప్లీజ్ ఈసారి క్లాస్ లేకుండా చేయండి. మీరు ఏమనంటే జ్యోతిష్యం అంటున్నారు కానీ సినిమాకి ఏ రకంగా క్లాస్ లేకుండా పెట్టుకోండి. ఐ డోంట్ థింక్ క్లాస్కి వస్తారనుకోవట్లేదు సలార్ 2కి ఎవరికైనా. మేబీ షారుఖ్ ఖాన్ గారు రావచ్చు, అది వేరే విషయం కానీ, బట్ స్టిల్ ఐఎమ్ వెరీ ఎక్సైటెడ్. మిథాలజికల్ సిరీస్ మేబీ ప్రభాస్ రావణం దాని గురించి మాట్లాడుతున్నాను అనుకుంటున్నాను. అయితే మాత్రం లెట్స్ వెయిట్ ఫర్ దట్. నాకైతే మాత్రం ఒకే ఒక్క రిక్వెస్ట్ ఏంటంటే ఐ వాంట్ అ ప్రాపర్ మాస్ ఎలివేషన్ సాంగ్ ఫర్ ప్రభాస్ ఇన్ సలార్ 2. అది నాకు కావాలి భయ్యా. లైక్ తుఫాన్ చూసిన తర్వాత వట్ యూ కాల్ ఇట్ సుల్తానా సాంగ్ విన్న తర్వాత ఐ వాంట్ అలాంటి ఒక సాంగ్ పడాలి ప్రభాస్కి. అసలు అలాంటి సాంగ్ పడలేదు. సో అలాంటిది ఒకటి పడితే ఐమ్ హ్యాపీ. అంతకంటే ఇంకేమీ లేదు. ఐఎమ్ డెఫినెట్లీ వెరీ కాన్ఫిడెంట్ దట్ ప్రశాంత్ నీల్ విల్ గివ్ అస్ అ ఫెంటాస్టిక్ పార్ట్ 2, నో డౌట్ అబౌట్ ఇట్. టైం పడుతుంది, బట్ చాలా బాగా తీస్తారు నాకు తెలుసు. ఎన్టీఆర్ నీల్ వచ్చిన తర్వాత కూడా వీ కెన్ సీ లైక్ ఒకవేళ ప్రతి సినిమాకైనా వేరే లెవెల్లో డెవలప్ అవుతాడు. ఎన్టీఆర్ నీల్ తర్వాత ఇంకా సలార్ 2 ఏ రేంజ్లో తీసాడో చూడడమే, ఇంకేం మిగలదు. సో మీ థాట్స్ ఏంటి? అసలు సలార్ 1 year వచ్చేసింది. అసలు నేను ఇప్పటివరకు ఒక 40 సార్లు చూసుంటా సినిమా. ఒక సీన్ కోసం స్టార్ట్ చేస్తా, ఆ సీన్ తోటి కంటిన్యూ అవుతుంది, లాస్ట్ వరకు చూసేస్తా. ఇదే కంటిన్యూ అవుతుంది అనమాట నాకు. ఇవాళ ఈవినింగ్ మాట్లాడేద్దాం. అండ్ మ్యాన్ సీరియస్లీ ఐఎమ్ హ్యాపీ. మీకేమనిపించింది సలార్? మీరు ఎలా అనిపిస్తుంది? నాకైతే మాత్రం వన్ ఆఫ్ ద బెస్ట్ ఫిల్మ్స్ ఆఫ్ ప్రభాస్ గారు అండ్ ప్రశాంత్ నీల్. ఇంకా మాట్లాడడానికి ఏం లేదు. నెక్స్ట్ వీడియోతో మళ్ళీ కలుస్తాం. అంతవరకు మ్యాన్ ఫిక్షన్. మీరు సబ్స్క్రైబ్ చేసుకోండి. సో బై.